Good morning. I'm Kathy Magnuson from Wildwood Learning, and at Wildwood Learning, I teach parents and teens how to create personal education and career plans. Welcome to Thrive Talk number 2. Today, we're going to be talking about how to help or advocate for your student or for your child. On the Thrive checklist, it says, I stand with and support my teen to advocate for personal learning. So advocacy is being able to stand beside and walk with your team in identifying their needs and building in confidence and in increasing your belief in your child. So you might be wondering, why is a grown woman wearing a bath towel? Well, I don't know if you can remember maybe when you were a child or maybe when your kids were smaller. You used to tie a dish towel around their neck or a bath towel, and they would go running around the house and they'd be a superhero. Do, 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 here I come. And in their superheroes, they had powers. And in our family, we even had superhero names and we had powers that went with it. Now, I'm not going to tell you what my superhero name is, but sometimes we think that we need to be super parents. And by being super parents, that we're out there helping our kids do things for them. When we're doing that, though, we're really not building their confidence that they can do things for themselves. And it is not always so helpful for that child. So sometimes we need to take off our superhero cape and stop being that super parent and realize that help or advocacy is not taking your child's power away by doing things for them. It's standing beside them and supporting them and witnessing those positive actions that are happening. And advocacy can be based on our knowledge and capabilities of our child and on the situation that's happening at that time. For example, I have an 8th grade son, and he seems to be very forgetful. He forgets his iPad that he needs for school. He forgets his uniform for his track meet. He forgets his clarinet that he needs for his band lesson. And I realize with 8th graders, I taught for many years in public high school, and 7th and 8th grade middle school ages were the ages that I taught. And they were some of my favorite kids. But I realized the adolescent brain at that time is growing. It's expanding by leaps and bounds, and they're creating new neural pathways within their brains. And sometimes all of the demands that are put on them while they're growing, things like organizing, time management, being able to focus for long periods of time, these are all called executive functioning skills, aren't easy for them at that age. So I have a choice. I have a choice, and I know my son, and I have a choice to either support and help him or to just do it for him. So in different situations, it might look differently. When we sometimes, before he gets on the bus, I'll say to him, so do you have everything that you need for your day at school? Which might help him to kind of remember a few of those things. Or it might be, when he calls and says he forgot his clarinet. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not coming into town right now, but I can drop it off at your locker at this time. And he might have the consequence of not having his clarinet for a band practice. So I can help them and support him, but it's always kind of that balancing act of, how much do I help? How much do I support? And it really depends on your child and you knowing their capabilities and the situation that's happening at that time. If you have a situation where your child is having problems with a teacher or a class or a coach, maybe at that point, depending on the age of your child, you step in, but bring your child along with. Show them how you can handle and solve conflicts. Let them be right there with you. Also, you could take and maybe coach them as to what they would say or what they would do in that same situation. So, advocacy for personal learning can look a lot different in a lot of different forms. It might be having your child ask for lessons instead of you demanding that they take piano lessons or take lessons. It might be helping them when they want to research a summer camp or a program that they want to attend. Or maybe they ask for a certain trip. I know my kids asked for a trip to the museum, and we were not able to schedule it this summer, but we took it this couple weekends ago. It might even be like connecting with them and their dreams and helping them, figure out those steps that they need to take. Or joining a club that encouraging them to join maybe the young adult book club at their local library, a robotics team or a drama, something that they might be interested in. Challenges can come to our teens, and those challenges are learning experiences. When we take away that ability for them to build confidence in solving that challenge or building skills in solving those challenges that come to them, then we are not advocating for our child. We need to help them and support them in building their confidence in solving those problems. And sometimes that takes skill on our part and self-awareness. So I'd like to leave you with 3 actions because I always like these Thrive Talks to end with things that you can go out do this next week. So one action that I would suggest is that you go out and you ask your teen what they dream of learning about or what they're really interested in learning, and then ask them, once you hear them, how can you support them? How can you support them in doing those things? Also, I would say if challenges arises, sometimes you just need to stand back and say to yourself, and what if I step in and solve this for them? Is that really building their confidence? Is that really giving them what they need? I know it always needs to be, though, in your mind that you're creating this positive connection with your teen, that you're keeping things positive and helping them to feel like they're being supported. Third action I would suggest is that if your teen asks for advice and support, give it. Give it to them in a positive way. However, if they're not asking, sometimes you just have to step back and wait until they ask, or step back and take a moment on what's really going to help this child. So those are my suggestions for help and advocacy. I hope that they will help you as a parent to advocate for your child's personal learning or to help your child advocate for their personal learning. We do that here at Wildwood Learning, where I teach and I do one-on-one sessions. I do workshops with parents and teens and in schools. And in those sessions, we talk about how can you be a good advocate. I also like to leave you with some resources. One is a podcast that I just love, which is called Zen Parenting Radio. And you can go to zenparentingradio.com. It's Todd and Kathy Adams. They are a couple, and they talk about parenting and conscious parenting and self-awareness. And the second one is a book that I read called The Gift of Failure. And that's by Jessica Leahy. I wrote a blog post about it, so you can go to the wildwoodlearning.com website, and there go to my blogs, and you can search it up, It's called The Gift of Failure. And it talks about how that when we allow our children to fail, we are really giving them a gift. Because every challenge that they go through is a learning experience for them. Also, if you haven't yet downloaded the Thrive checklist, I'm going to put here in the show notes the link so that you can download that checklist. Also, make sure that you subscribe. Go down here, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And then you will get our next talk, which is talk number 3, all about R is for relationships. So how can we build those relationships with our teens? So meet me back here next week, Thursday, and we will be learning more about relationships. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you next week.